before we get going. But one of the questions that comes up a lot in the prepper forums is actually, let me adjust this just a bit. Bear with me, folks. All right, there we go. All right, hopefully notifications are getting out and we get some people popping in here. But one of the questions that comes up in the prepper forums quite often actually is, what are we going to do about medications if SHTF happens? What are we going to do if the supply chain breaks down? If medications just aren't getting to the stores? What if the stores aren't closed, right? And the answer to that is actually quite simple, but a number of people still don't know this. So Jase Medical actually is part of that solution for you folks. But we'll talk about a couple other options for you as well tonight. And I got some discount codes. I got some sales to tell you about. There's a lot of cool stuff going on at Jase Medical. And if you were thinking about it, if you were thinking about getting some antibiotics or some other emergency meds for your kit, this is definitely the weekend that you wanna be getting involved with that, because there's some fantastic sales that are going on and that are going to be expiring soon. One of those actually expires on Sunday night. So Maccabees, good to see you, my friend. How you doing? Dove Season, it's good to see you. Appreciate y'all. I don't know how long we're going to be tonight. I got some stuff to go through with you, specifically talking about medications for SHTF tonight. But Lazarus Long, it's good to see you. Thank you, everybody. Looks like notifications are getting out, I guess. Let me know if there's a problem with the audio. So obviously, if there's a big emergency situation, let's not forget about zombies for a minute. Like, we always like to think about like the end of the world disaster kind of situations, but let's just talk about World War. Right, let's talk about World War for a second. Like, whether or not the American media is wanting to talk about it, you really should be, if you're following me on Instagram, make sure you're following the stories, because I've been sharing some stories from, oh, good. All right, well, take it easy, relax yourself, Maccabeus. Let's have a good Friday night. Appreciate it. One of the things I'm doing on Instagram, which is where, up in the stories section, is I'm sharing stories from around the world of what's going on in the wars, because the American media is barely covering it. My guess is that has to do with the election coming up is really taking up the news cycle. But there's a lot of stuff that's escalating, especially in Russia and Ukraine. And there's a lot of threats being thrown around by Russia about using nuclear weapons. There's threats of attacking. There's threats against the United States. There's threats against Europe. So let's just talk about, this is a very real possibility that could happen, is that we could get into a World War III situation very, very shortly here. I hope not. I pray not. But it could happen. If that happens, supply chain's going to be jacked up to kingdom come. It's going to be bad, y'all. And you will have a very hard time getting a lot of things, including some medications. Now, many of you might not know this, but China actually produces a lot of our medications for us. Now, China is, they are one of our trade allies, yeah, but they are also have some pretty strong relations with Russia. So if things don't go too well and the situation escalates and we end up getting into some kind of kinetic situation with Russia, then it's our supply chain for medications is going to get jacked up. At least that's what I think. Exactly. Maccabees says, get what you can right now, folks. And so let me tell you about a couple things that are going on with Jase Medical right now. Obviously, for those of you who've never heard of them, Jase Medical has the Jase case, which is what this is. And that's like your standard thing that when you go to their website, you're going to have a medical evaluation online, and they're going to ask you if you have a primary care physician, which you need to have a primary care physician in order to be able to get your medications. Then they're going to say, okay, what are you looking for? You're going to say, I'm looking for emergency medications, which you are legally allowed to have those. And and there's 5 different antibiotics here. So not only are you going to get 5 different antibiotics, but you get a book, which, let me show you this real quick, on how to use those, right? So just to give you an idea here real quick, we'll kind of jump ahead a little bit. So it's going to give you different kind of things that could happen, and which is the right medication for it, what's the right dose for it. And these medications, these antibiotics, were chosen for a couple different reasons. The Dr. Sean Rowland, who I actually had on my channel for an interview last year, you can find that. He's the CEO of Jase Medical. He said he chose these medications because of their long shelf life. So they are good for a very long time, and they travel well, they store well, and these 5 antibiotics can be used to treat a number of different conditions. Okay, so that's why this is the Jase case, and that's your baseline of, like, if you ordered nothing else, that's what I would get. Okay. What else do they have? Well, since they first started and they had the Jase case, they've added a lot of different things. They have a travel kit, which has a couple different antibiotics for traveling. They have a kids kit, which is specifically for children's doses, which includes a guide on when you would use those and how much they are. They have a brand new product that was just added called the UTI kit, and we're going to actually talk a little bit about that tonight. For if you don't know what a UTI is, it's a urinary tract infection. Now, all of you diehard survivalists who are going to go out and hide in the woods when Red Dawn happens, you better know what a UTI is, because it's potentially deadly. And when we're talking about antibiotics, I'm all for natural remedies. You guys know I do my foraging stuff. I've had several guests on the channel who teach you how to do natural remedies with plant medicine. But there are certain times where I also think human medicine is needed and can save lives. In fact, there's been a lot of people whose lives probably could have been saved if they had used modern medicines but refused to do so. Most notably, I'm blanking on his name. The reggae artist. Help me out, Mac. Who sings "One Love"? Bob. Oh my gosh, I can't believe my brain's farting. You guys know who I'm talking about. It'll come back to me in a second. I'm just having a brain fart. Bob Marley. Bob Marley. I saw his son Ziggy Marley years ago. I can't believe I couldn't come up with that. Bob Marley. Bob Marley could have lived if he had, taken some modern medicine. But so it's just something to be aware of. Thank you. I appreciate that, Diane. I feel like such an idiot that I just forgot Bob Marley, especially since I saw his son Ziggy live. So yeah, there's a place in my world for both, for natural medicine and modern medicine. Now, what else do they have? So you can get some asthma medicine. You can get some seizure medicine. They have some mental health medicines on there. Not all, but they have some. That question comes, people send me that one a lot because they know I'm a therapist. Like, what will we do if our loved one can't get access to their mental health needs? Well, in many cases, they need those. You're going to have a serious breakdown. They're going to have some serious decompensation, mental health decompensation. So Jase Medical does carry some mental health medications. Coffee First, good to see you. Appreciate you. So they've got, some couple antidepressants in there. I think they have a couple antipsychotics available on there. They've got ivermectin. Ivermectin is a very popular medicine for preppers. You can go look that up. They've got a sale going on this weekend on dexamethasone. What's that, Sarge? Well, dexamethasone is kind of a must-have medication for preppers. And the sale this weekend is $25 for dexamethasone. That sale ends on Sunday night. So if you're thinking about it, again, I can't recommend there's a better time to go ahead and get your Jase emergency medications than this weekend. Yes, they will have sales again in the future, but I'm telling you, there's some great stuff happening this month, and specifically the dexamethasone sale ends this weekend. What is dexamethasone? Well, it can be used to help treat inflammation, allergies, arthritis, asthma, and some skin conditions. That sounds like a pretty good medication to have around for SHTF, if you ask me. What else do they got? So they've got seizure medicine, they've got heart medicine, they've got cholesterol medicine. So it's not just antibiotics anymore. It's not just antibiotics, folks. I really encourage you to think about this. But what we're going to talk about tonight is one more. There's another sale that's going on for National Preparedness Month, September. This sale is going to end, and this is probably the best sale that I've seen so far. This sale is going to end at the end of this month. So using my link, you go and use my discount code, Sarge10? I have it at the top. So I pinned the link. Hey, Burp, Yoga Uncle, it's good to see you. I got the link at the top here, Sarge10 for $10 off your Jase case. And then what they're going to do is they're going to ask for your email. Give them your email, and they're going to email you a coupon for $30 off your next one. That sale is probably the best sale that I've seen so far, Jase Medical, and that's only good to the end of September. So you're going to get, basically, if you use both of them, you're going to get $40 total off 2 Jase cases, right? I mean, that's why I'm doing this, guys. I've always got you can always get this link and this discount code in my description on almost all of my videos any time of year. But because of the sales that are going on right now for National Preparedness Month, I really wanted to dedicate one live stream just to Jase Medical and what they're doing and the sales that are available right now. Okay, so you've got the National Preparedness Month sale, which is going to get you, if you buy both of the Jase cases, it's going to get you $40 total off. One up front with my discount code is going to get you the $10 off, and then you're going to get an email code, and then go back in and get your second one, and that's going to get you another $30 off. Folks, you're not going to beat that. And then you got, ending Sunday night, you've got the dexamethasone for only $25. That ends this Sunday night. And what's dexamethasone? That's the one that treats inflammation, allergies, arthritis, asthma, skin conditions. So when you go in there and you take your online eval, you're going to talk to a provider, and they're going to ask you, what are you needing? What are you looking for? And you're going to tell them, I want the Jase case for my antibiotics. And they're going to ask you, what else do you need? What other conditions do you have? So you can add things on. You can add on medications for asthma. You can add on, if you got a kid, if you've got seizures, you can add on something maybe for epilepsy. If you've got a heart condition, tell them about that. Get a year's supply of medication. A year's supply of medication, folks. Right? So there are other ways to do this. Of course, you can slowly stockpile over time, but this gets it out of the way for you. And what happens next after your evaluation's all done? Your medications get mailed to you from a licensed pharmacy in the United States. A lot of people, when I tell them about this, they think, how is that legal? Because it is legal. You are allowed to go to an online doctor and get evaluated and get your medications mailed to you. That is perfectly legal in the United States. I can't speak for other countries. Now, I think this is available in some other countries. It might be available in Canada. It might be a couple other countries. You're going to have to go on their website to check that if you're watching this from outside the United States. Tuck, it's good to see you. Yeah, so for those who are financially just can't pull this off right now, I do have a couple other options. Hang with me. I'm going to talk about those too. Kentucky, it's good to see you. Let's see. Did I miss anybody? Lee, thank you so much. Hope you're doing well. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Diana, so they have pharmacies throughout the United States. It might not be one in your state. I don't remember which. So mine came from Kentucky. I don't know where you're going with that one, Don Nicole. Anyways, y'all are gonna kill me. Anyways, let's keep going. So the UTI case. What do we got here? So what is a UTI? A UTI is urinary tract infection. 1 in 5 women. Actually, no, I'm sorry. 6 out of 10 women will experience a UTI in the United States at some point. 1 in 5 people, men get it less commonly, but men can get it as well. It can be fatal without treatment. And what is happening? Well, basically, you're getting an infection in your urinary tract, right? And typically, you're going to need antibiotics to treat that. And so the Jase UTI kit includes Pyridium and nitrofurantoin, plus UTI test strips and RX med cards with details info about each medication and treatment. And that's going to be $100, $99.95 to be specific. And it comes in a small, portable, discreet case that you can keep with you when you're traveling. And those are used, the Pyridium is a pain-relieving medication for urinary tract infections. It's used short-term to relieve urinary pain and should be used alongside medication that treats the underlying cause of the pain. The nitrofurantoin is an antibiotic that's specifically used to treat lower urinary tract infections. And then you're going to get your UTI test strips and your med cards, okay? So that is going on right now as well. So go ahead and get that if you need it. You're typically going to, the antibiotics are typically going to be the go-to solution for UTIs, okay? You can also use, to help prevent UTIs, not so much treat, but prevent, you might be worth incorporating some cranberries and cranberry juice into your diet regularly, right? But what if it's SHTF and you don't have access to cranberry juice and you don't live in an area of the world where that grows? Typically, that's like up north, like Massachusetts and probably Maine. It grows in cranberry bogs. If you've never seen a cranberry bog, they're actually really beautiful. Again, you want to make sure you're taking the right medications if you've got this. So that's why, and the test strips are going to be what's going to help you determine that. What are some of the signs that you would look for, though? A strong, persistent urge to urinate, a burning sensation when urinating, passing frequent small amounts of urine, cloudy urine, urine that appears pink or reddish or dark colored, strong smelling urine, pelvic pain, lower back pain, fevers and chills, nausea and vomiting. Those are some of the warning signs that you might have a UTI. Again, why did I mention those of you who want to go and live out in the woods? Because hygiene is an important part of preventing that. And if you're running around in the woods and not changing your underwear because you're a survivalist who's now living in your bug out location, then I'm guessing that not only your hygiene kit might not be permanent, or you might not have a ton of changes of underwear, so it's just something to be aware of. But honestly, this can that was just a funny example. It can happen to anybody. Typically, it's caused when bacteria. Some of the causes are when bacteria gets into the urinary tract. Sexual activity can do this in certain cases. Certain birth control, like diaphragms and spermicidal agents, can increase the risk. Changes in the urinary tract during menopause can make it easier for bacteria to grow. Urinary tract abnormalities, such as structural abnormalities, blockages, kidney stones, they can trap urine in the bladder and increase the risk. Anyone who has to rely on the use of catheters has an increased risk. Having a weakened immune system from conditions like diabetes can impair the immune system, making it harder to fight off infections. Okay. What are the things you can do to help prevent it in the first place? Again, hydration is always important. As survivalists, what do we always preach? Water is your most important prep. Water is your most important prep, folks. Cranberry juice can help to prevent it because it helps prevent bacteria from adhering to the bladder wall. Taking probiotics might help, because especially those containing lactobacillus, because it can help to maintain a healthy balance of bacteria in the urinary tract. I'm going to get to your chat here in just a second, y'all. Hygiene is super important. Make sure you're cleaning up after using the toilet or after going to the bathroom, because that is another area. That's another way that you can increase your risk. Don't hold your urine for long periods of time. Make sure you urinate when you need to urinate, right? How about those of us who go camping in wintertime? I've done this a few times, and it's like super cold at night. You don't want to get up and get out of the tent to go to the bathroom, so you're trying to hold it to the morning. Probably not a good idea. Recommended to urinate after intercourse. That helps flush out any bacteria that you might have picked up during intercourse. For women, generally recommended to avoid scented feminine hygiene products, because that can irritate the urethra. Believe it or not, wearing tight clothing that doesn't breathe well increases your risk of bacterial growth. A urinary tract infection untreated can lead to serious health complications such as kidney infections, sepsis, recurrent infections, bladder damage, and pregnancy complications as well. So one more thing I want to mention on this, as a mental health worker, there has been a few cases where I've seen people that were otherwise mentally healthy have suddenly developed psychotic symptoms because the infection goes all the way up into their brain. And it will look like a psychotic disorder when that happens. And generally speaking, once you get them treated with the antibiotics, that clears right up. But this is no joke, folks. If you're truly like an SHTF prepper, and you're worried about supply chain issues, you're worried about the ability to access healthcare, I would definitely consider that UTI kit. I mean, to imagine to be like, this hardcore survivalist and a UTI is the thing that takes you out, right? That's your legend, right? All right, let's check your chat, folks. See if there's any questions here or anything like that. Bear with me here just a second, folks. I got to scroll back up a little bit. And then I'm going to get to some other options. If you can't pull off the Jase case right now, I'll give you some different options. Yeah, baby oil. Thanks, Burpee. Yep, skin funguses too. You're right, Maccabeus, and yeah, and foot funguses too. We should probably talk about that one in another another stream. Foot funguses, and that, like, if you're hiking miles and miles a day, like because you're on your bug out trail, foot funguses is a real issue. Yeah, if you're getting anything of value out of this, don't forget to hit the like. Appreciate it. So that discount code on Jase again is Sarge10. It's going to get you $10 off. Let's see. Scrolling down, just looking for your comments and stuff. Thank you, moderator, whoever got that. Appreciate it. Have a backup plan when that kit runs out if the event runs longer than scheduled. Yup. Yeah, elderberry juice. Yeah, so let's get into that, I think. Let's talk a little bit about some Tuscan Raiders. Have just been offended. Bacon, it's good to see you. How you doing, brother? All right, so whether it's a UTI or any medical condition, right? If you can't afford to do stuff with Jase right now, totally understand that. Everybody's in a different financial situation. So what are some of your other options? Well, whatever medication you're taking monthly, little by little, start stockpiling. So most medications you're going to be able to fill at least 3 days early. There's only a few, those are like your controlled that are a little bit harder to get early. So for example, today is the 20th, right? If your medication was due for a refill on the 24th, tomorrow I would call the pharmacy and request your refill. So you're going to get 3 extra days, and then you put those back. Okay, and label it. Make sure you label it. And most medications are good for longer than what their expiration date says. There's some exceptions to that, so you need to do your research for each I can't go through every single type of medication. Generally speaking, like the gel caps and stuff like that are going to expire sooner. The pills, the compressed powdered pills, are going to last longer. Liquids and ointments and things like that are going to expire faster. Okay, that's generally speaking, but you really have to. That's not medical advice. You're going to have to research each of your own medications that you're taking. So fill them 3 days early. If your pharmacy will let you fill it 4 days early, do 4 days early, and you're slowly stockpiling. You build up and you build up, right? So over the course of a year, you've got an extra month worth of supply of meds. Well, guess what, folks? Most, not all, but most emergencies are going to be resolved in 30 days or less, right? So most emergencies, we're talking about storms, supply chain disruptions, things like that. They're going to be resolved, most of those, in 30 days or less. So within 1 year, you've got a 30-day supply just by doing that, okay? But also, why do I have these guests on here? Like we had Jess on a couple weeks ago on one of my live streams. If you didn't watch that, go back and watch that. She talks about natural remedies, right? Plant medicine. If you're serious about this, if you're a serious prepper, if you're a serious survivalist, you need to know what plants in your area can be used as medicine. Here's the kicker. Most medicines out there, their original base, their original compound came from a plant. And then in a factory, they're purifying it, they're altering it a little bit, and then they trademark it and it becomes a medicine. So most medicines that are out there, their original base comes from a plant, okay? So remember that. Now, am I telling you to go and try and heal your severe life-threatening illness with a plant? No, this is why I tell you that I believe in modern medicine and natural remedies, and it's up to you and your doctor to make that decision, not me. I'm not doing that. I get asked questions about medications from my patients all the time, right? And I will say, hey, I will happy to tell you what I've known from my trainings, but you need to know that I'm not a doctor. And I can't tell you if this medicine's the right medicine for you or if you should or shouldn't take it. I'll just tell you what I know, what I've learned from trainings, and what other people have reported to me from their experiences, but you're still going to need to have that conversation with your doctor. Okay? I'm not gonna give you medical advice above my pay grade. My pay grade is I'm a master's level licensed therapist. I am not a doctor. I'm not a nurse practitioner. Okay? But get a good book on natural remedies. Get a good book on plant medicine. Get a good book on how to make distillations, right? And things like that, and ointments. This stuff, you know, people can learn to do this. It's not super hard. It just takes time and effort, and get a good teacher like Jess or my friend April Punsalam, who I also had on the channel a couple times. April, if you remember her a couple years ago, she's one of the best foraging instructors here in my area. You know, get with somebody like her or Jess, or if you're in Texas, go train with Dr. Mark Merriweather Vorderbruggen. I've trained with him a couple times at Georgia Bushcraft. He teaches some foraging classes. And check out his products. He's got products you can buy where he's like turned the plants in his area into medicine that you can buy. Okay? So figure out who the best trainer in your area is and take classes with them. Okay? Get yourself some good books. I got one listed in the description, a foraging book that I like. Get yourself some good books. Study it, practice it. Don't wait till you got a urinary tract infection to figure this stuff out, because you're going to be in a heap of trouble. Okay, and can you learn all of it and be a member? No, but you should know like common stuff, like how do I treat diarrhea? How do I treat constipation? How do I treat a headache? How do I treat chronic pain? How do I treat what in my area might help me with my anxiety? Right? You guys have the mimosa tree growing near you? Right? Do you know what that is? I've done a video on that. The mimosa tree, the bark and the flower can be used to make a very mild anti-anxiety tea. Right? If I had to take something for anxiety, I would rather take that than a prescription anti-anxiety medicine, because a lot of those, unfortunately, are addictive. Do you have chronic pain? Okay. Do you know how to make a tincture out of wild lettuce? It's not that hard, but you need to know how to identify wild lettuce. And guess what, guys? It looks different in your area than mine. I've done a video on that, but the wild lettuce in your area is going to look different because that plant is highly adaptive to its ecosystem. So it's going to look very, very different in your area than it looks in mine. And there's different varieties of wild lettuce. And many of them have the same medicine, but in different quantities, different strength, right? Do you know about I've got one here called pennywort. Sometimes it's called dollar weed. That is anti-inflammatory. If you've got a lot of pain from inflammation type pain, that might be a good one to know. What about rosemary, right? If you've got some lung issues, rosemary is a good one to know. If you've got garlic, might be a good one to know. I tell everybody, if you're going to grow one plant as a prepper, the plant that I would recommend that you grow is oregano, because it's antiviral, antibacterial, and antifungal. And it tastes amazing, and it can make wild game taste amazing. Or if I was only going to grow one plant, it would be oregano. You know, so all right, let's check your chat one more time. Then I got a positive message for you all, and then we're gonna call it a night. Don't forget, you want to check out everybody in the chat here. Got a lot of good channels in the chat here tonight. It's a lot of good prepping channels, and also remember, Bacon goes live usually on Friday nights later on, so you make sure you check his channel out. Hope everybody's having a good Friday so far. Let me check chat one more time, see if I missed anything. Yeah, mimosa is really cool. It's a tree, yeah. And don't mix it up. There's a mimosa tree that grows in South America that's different. All right. So you can search in my playlist from Prepping with Sarge Mimosa, and you'll see the one that I'm talking about. The flowers look like they're brightly colored pink. Now, the mimosa tree in South America is also medicinal, but for different things. Dollar weed's a good one to know. Rosemary is a great plant to have. I'm an expert at crabgrass. Is crabgrass, Lee, does crabgrass have medicinal uses? I don't know. That's a good one. I don't know that. I know a lot of people don't like it on their grass. All right. Well, while we're giving Lee a chance to answer that, yeah, check everybody's channel out. Kentucky Survivalist has got a channel too. Make sure you guys are watching each other, support each other's. Yeah, mimosa is a real pretty plant too. It's those flowers are so pretty, and it smells nice too. It's a good tree to grow. All right, so let me. I wanted to wind this one down with one thought about I've been talking to a lot of people this week about self-forgiveness. And I think a lot of us find it easy to forgive other people. Maybe some of you don't, and that's okay. But forgiving yourself is a lot harder, right? And when people ask me in therapy, well, how do I do that? I don't know how to forgive myself. My answer is always the same. And that is none of us are perfect. We've all done things in our life that we regret. We've all made mistakes. Every single person that I know has something that they wish they could go back and change, right? And we can't. So you can spend the rest of your life beating the crap out of yourself over that and thinking terrible thoughts about yourself. Or you can say, I wish that I hadn't done that, but I can't change it now. And I'm going to work on my self-forgiveness, which means I'm going to grant myself the same grace that I grant to other people. And I'm going to use this to learn from this thing, whatever it is that you have shame in your heart about, that you have regret in your heart about. You're gonna learn from this, and you're gonna try to be the person that you really want to be. You're gonna use it to change who you are in the present and the future. And that's where it starts. That's where the path to self-forgiveness starts, okay? For those of us who are Christian, which I know a lot of people in my audience are, and if you're not, it's okay. It's okay. I'm not trying to push this on you, but for those of us who are Christian, I want to add a little bit more. And that is, we had the best example of forgiveness in our faith that one could ask for, right? We took our Savior and we nailed him to a cross. We tortured him. We spit on him. We nailed him to a cross. And he did that to forgive us. So what better lesson was granted to us for those of us who are Christians than that, right? If he can forgive us for doing that, then surely we can find it within ourselves to forgive ourselves as well. Okay? And again, if you're not Christian, I'm not trying to push that on you. That was just a message for the Christian people in my audience. For the rest of you, just remember, you got to work on that acceptance of I can't change my past, but I can certainly change my future. And I'm going to grant myself the same grace that I would grant to somebody else. And it starts there. That's the path that it starts on. And you'll find the rest of the path if you do that. Okay? Folks, I care about you a great deal. I appreciate everybody in this audience. Appreciate you guys giving me some of your time this Friday night. And you got that right, Burpee Yoga Uncle. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Make sure you give a little bit of time for yourself, too. I'm always telling you to give time to your family and your pets. Give a little time to yourself, too, because I think you deserve that, okay? Folks, keep having a great night. Make sure you check out Bacon later on tonight. And keep planting your seeds. Keep stacking your silver. This is Prepping with Sarge.